for the next session, which is our panel discussion session on AI-powered customer experience, revolutionizing the e-commerce and the retail industry. Back to the panel session, ladies and gentlemen, a unique topic and subject on the role of AI in customer experience and how it is revolutionizing the e-commerce and the retail industry. And before I call on the honorable panel members, I would like to share a few pointers of discussion which is unique to the panel. Is artificial intelligence bringing change to e-commerce and retail industry? AI-driven personalization for a great shopping experience in the retail sector. How AI is transforming customer experience in retail business, streamlining customer support with AI chatbots and virtual assistants, and many more. So without taking further time of yours, let me welcome the honorable panel members, and please help me welcome them with a big round of applause. Joining us first in the panel session, we have Mr. Sandeep Pujari, Head of Technology and Customer Service, Tata Digital. A big round of applause to Sandeep. Sandeep, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Ms. Harmeet Kaur, Head of Customer Engagement, D2H from DishTV India. A big round of applause to Harmeet ji. Please take your seat, madam. Joining next, we have Mr. Harshavardhan Chauhaan, Chief Marketing and Omnichannel Officer, Spencer's Retail. A big round of applause to Harshavardhan ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Mr. Awale Ajay, Head of IT, Aquapharm Chemicals. A big round of applause to Awale ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Mr. Neelabh Agrawal, Head of Digital Transformation and Business, Reliance Jewels from Reliance Retail. A big round of applause to Neelabh. Neelabh, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. And now I would like to call on our honorable moderator for the panel, Mr. Vineet Rajan, Marketing Lead, SAP CX Startups and Digital Natives from SAP India Subcontinent. A big round of applause to Vineet. Vineet, welcome to the panel. And looking forward to a great session. Over to you.
Great. Thank you. Am I audible? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I see that the energy is a bit less thanks to the great lunch and all thanks to Sinex. So we have a very diverse group here from retail, chemicals, entertainment, India's first super app. I mean, it's a very, very diverse this thing we have here. But I just want to start things off in terms of when the topic is broadly AI in this particular industry of commerce and retail. I'd like to just quickly go around and we'll start with you. If you could just briefly introduce yourself and quickly talk about how you look at AI in your particular organization and industry.
Hi guys, my name is Neelabh. I look after the digital transformation and digital business for Reliance Jewels. So Reliance Jewels, as you know, is a part of the Reliance retail ecosystem. So again, for us, AI and basically is doing a lot in terms of improving the consumer experience. So anything related to the consumer experience and improving the consumer experience right from choosing to ordering to getting the after-sale services, AI is a very, very crucial component. It has already started playing a crucial role in that, and then hope to see it gathering more momentum. Thank you.
Thanks, Neelabh.
Good evening, everyone. So I represent Aquapharm Chemicals. My name is Ajay Awale. So being into chemicals, I think you can think like technology, maybe a less kind of thing, but it's not. I mean, today manufacturing sector in India is utilizing all sort of technologies, whether it's AI, ML, or maybe RPA kind of thing. And fortunately, I think Aquapharm is more believing onto the technology front. So when we speak about AI, I think a lot of significance on manufacturing sector, especially I would talk about chemicals here is, all the specifications, then R&D sector. Of course, manufacturing line remains same because 80% manufacturing area is always same, 20% differs with the product line. So this 20% product line also, is the responsibility of R&D team to deliver the new products or maybe the same products. So a lot of data is involved and AI plays the vital role. Typically, into sales also, like predictions or, the results of the chemicals also, based on the historic data or predictions, AI plays definitely a wonderful role. So, but data is the backbone, definitely. Thanks.
Thanks, Ajay. Thanks. In fact, I'm sure there'll be a lot many more questions specifically for your industry that we'll have from the audience as well. So look forward to that.
Hi, my name is Harshavardhan Chauhaan. I'm currently leading Spencer's Retail, Nature's Basket, and D2C portfolio as Chief Marketing and Omnichannel Officer. I generally say that what's a hard job to do in the world, but you ask a lot of people say sales is a difficult thing to do. Some people say parenting is difficult to do. I think keeping your wife happy is a difficult job, right? At least 50% people will agree. And that's a good way to break the ice in the post-lunch session. But a harder job in the world to do is to keep other people's wife happy. And that's the grocery business I am in, because fruits and vegetables are not fresh, the products are not neatly kept in the aisle, and the consumer journey is really elaborate. So have been fortunate to see one of the biggest transformations that we've seen in grocery retail and retail per se in the last decade, with the rise of D2C, quick commerce, and omnichannelization. I believe the future of retail is digital. So glad to indulge into that conversation later on.
Thanks, Harsh. Thanks.
Thank you. My name is Harmeet. I'm working with DishTV. Started right from the inception till date. So I have been working on building the company and I've grown with the company. I head the customer engagement wing. And just for everyone to understand, I think we all understand the DTH sector well. We have either been the customer of a DTH or we are still DTH customers. However, as this category is evolving, we now have 4 brands under DishTV India Limited. So we have DishTV, we have D2H, we have Zing Super, which caters to the rural market, and then we have the Watcho Super app, which is amalgamation of all OTTs put together. A very interesting sector to be in. I've thoroughly enjoyed being here. And with a base which is more than 30 million subscribers, actually subscribing month on month, and some even more, more twice or thrice in a month do the subscriptions. The transactional data that we have is terabytes and terabytes of data. So for us, if you want to cater to the customer, a customer who is coming to us again and again and leaving footprints, and a customer who has a choice of plethora of entertainment. So within the same household, we'll realize some of us like horror movies, while some of us like rom-coms, and we all have our favorite yawners. So, and entertainment is really exploding with the OTTs coming in, different kinds of content. We have snackable content, we have content that are continue to be long movies, and we also have the unending series, right? So very difficult for us to really, reach out to the consumer, which is really vast from the hinterland to the heartlands of the country. That's where we are present at every nook and corner by virtue of being the Asia's largest DTH company. For us, AI is not really a choice, it's a compulsion. For us to reach out to our consumers, customize the propositions to them, ensuring each is treated as an individual customer, and therefore personalized each conversation that's made with the customer, we've got to depend on AI. And AI has been a huge enabler at one end, but having said that, on the other end, we continue to understand the need and the necessity of how one needs to digitalize human. So humanize digital, if I was to look at the other way around. And therefore the focus on empathy, keeping intact the AI learnings is what the core focus for the organization is. I'm really looking forward to some really interesting sectors and some interesting insights coming from them, which I would really want to kind of take on and adopt for our category too. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Harmeet.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandeep Pujari, and I head the technological stack for Tata Neu. And as the parent company name goes, Tata Digital, we firmly believe in transforming the entire consumer journey digitally, right? Whether it's a pre-purchase journey or a post-purchase journey that we have. From the day one, what we have realized is AI is a very, very clear and important aspect that we need to have in our culture. So at Tata Neu, that since we have a lot of brands from Big Basket to Click to 1mg in our portfolio, what we have done is we have enabled an omni-channel support which has AI at all levels, so that not only the customer, when they use the app, get the AI functionalities, but even post the journeys, when they want to reach out to customer service or they need any particular help for their services, we have enabled AI. So for us, AI is inevitable, from the get-go itself.
Great. Thanks, Sandeep. So before we actually, there are certain questions that I have specifically for each one of you, but broadly, one thing that I want to touch upon is very recent, which is the data protection and the entire thing about maintaining consent and what is the customer privacy around it. So when we look at personalization, when we look at using data or with intelligence, leveraging AI to actually deliver, say, unique pricing or delivering that personalized experience, right? How do you as a brand really draw the line, and what are the risks involved in kind of super hyper personalization, which is AI driven, to in our mind we are trying to deliver the best to the customer, but maybe we are just crossing the line somewhere. So where do we really draw that line?
So again, that is a very, very difficult question to start with, because again, how do you draw that line is very, very crucial. Again, there obviously I represent a part of the retail which is highly personalized because we are into the jewelry business, which is again precious to semi-precious jewelry which is there. So again, and personalization is very, very crucial component. Any woman who's getting married or any girl who's getting married has to basically is looking for a jewelry which is very, very highly customized and personalized for that person. Again, storing that kind of a personalized data is, example is that how would you gather the data is obviously from the consumer browsing pattern, be it in the physical store or in the digital store. And apart from that, obviously, the buying pattern is one crucial component wherein you gather the customer information. And basis on that, the AI model will recommend products related to the consumer's choice. Again, that is very, very crucial that the data sharing and the component of the interface which is there with the consumer is very, very segmented and very personalized. And that is wherein the data privacy should be actually kept in. Aaron, for example, and the consumer's trust is that I am giving that kind of an access and obviously taking the consent before gathering any kind of information. Even from a consumer experience perspective, it is very, very crucial to take the consent. Okay. So consent again, the DPDP or the law which has come in, again, Europe had already those kind of laws, and then eventually India is also catching up with a lot. Last week also we had a detailed session within Reliance to ensure that we abide by these kind of rules and regulations invited by the government. So it is very, very crucial. So the high level of personalization is there, but that personalized data should not be used. And just to tell you, within ecosystems, again, with a large ecosystem like retail and Reliance ecosystem, even from the ecosystem perspective, we don't share the data between ecosystems like the other businesses. It is just that this is the kind of I have my separate kind of Reliance Jewels customer. Again, if we want to target the other business consumer, we can't get the consumer information and everything. Again, what we can do is we can create clusters basis the consumer segments and target the consumers basis those target segments. So again, from data sharing perspective, within the organization also it is very, very, there is a clear mandate and a guideline that we will not share any data within ecosystems as well. The direct consumer data. So I think it is a very, very crucial component that, and we should, as a country which we're going the digital journey, it is very, very crucial for us to have all those regulations and the companies to abide by those regulations.
So I think from the manufacturing perspective, where we can go wrong is, utilizing some advertising stuff with the wrong policies or wrong ethical data, basically. But if you see, DPDC bill, it was there earlier also. I think that remains same, but it was into, bits and pieces somewhere. But today, I think it has got a structure. It has got a, delivery to entire public, actually. Which is a good thing, a good awareness to everyone, and the laws remain same. You have you have the binding to how to utilize the data, and who are the stakeholders, who are the owners of that. You have to take a consent and then use it. From a manufacturing point of view, specifically, I would talk about is relative data could be your R&D papers, your personalized data, your customer details, your vendor details, and how you take that data onboarded and utilize this for your own business. So every industry or every sector has to build their own policies. They have to adhere onto those policies. So that kind of major change, should be initiated by the legal team or compliance team or maybe HR, I would say. and make those changes, make awareness within, and then follow those strictly. So I mean, people were not looking into these aspects earlier, but now the awareness of this DPDC, that has, brought quite a good vigilance actually. Even I have also, formulated that DPDC bill into a simple language and then circulated within the organization. So I would say, I think everybody must be doing that definitely. And everybody thinks that it's an HR job or maybe compliance team job or something. But it is digital job actually. And digital team can initiate that, make an awareness and adhere to those policies. So that's how I think it can be controlled, I would say. Or it's not only controlled, but it can be compiled simply.
I think in grocery business, when you look at it across retail as a stack, you've got one of the most intensive engagements and conversations happening. So generally, if you look at a global benchmark, consumers would interact, and that's a benchmark across retail, around 1.8 to 2.4 times in a quarter. In grocery retail, that number goes as high as 3.7, 3.8 a month. So I think when you talk about personalization, while we do not have a formal GDPR kind of a compliance as there in Europe, and in the absence of that, I think in grocery, and especially when we talk of in the context of the companies we are, a true omnichannel stack initially endeavors to build a single view of consumer, which means for us, whether the consumer is coming in a physical brick and mortar, or he's connecting through one of your channels of quick commerce or ordering on WhatsApp, or maybe leveraging one of the elaborate versions of a phone delivery channel, the single view of consumer ensures that the data flow across these channels is seamless. And that's where the first step of personalization starts in, to ensure that no matter where you shopped, you'd be able to do the subsequent process of the consumer journey, whether it is returns, refunds, etc., on any other channel and vice versa. I think that part of Handshake where dealing with the personally identifiable data of consumer is concerned, and leveraging adequate processes to handle that data, so that at a meta level, when you're building something like a CDP of your own and getting into deeper segmentation, hyper-localization, hyper-personalization with consumers, where as a consumer, you would always have a need to be really delighted, right? You would want the retailer to really know your basket and nudge you at the right time to pick up a product in terms of upgrade or a cross-sell, which is really relevant to you. And that's where the thin line of personalization is. And that's where a huge amount of data churning in terms of leveraging a whole lot of evolved MarTech tools within the stack of SaaS, or leveraging deeper personalization comes into picture. I think at our end, we started with building a robust CDP, right? And then leveraging various personalization methodologies across channels to have a personalization mechanism where no matter which channel you are, as a single view of consumer, single view of brand, there would be a very relatable experiences built in wherever you are having a certain touch point. So having said that, I personally foresee the future of personalization is more hyper-personalized in the physical context, which I would like to call as phygital. I think when as consumers, just think about it as a food for thought. At this point in time, the right nudge that you should be having from Amazon is saying that he should know when you're leaving this event and what you need to buy, or the next time you're visiting a physical market, you should actually get a nudge from Amazon. But the big thing is, even a player like Amazon would be devoid of the physical context that you're in, right? And that's where personalization's next frontier, which is how do you operate at the cusp of physical and digital, comes into picture. And that's where our endeavor is also to achieve, which means that if you're visiting one of the Nature's Basket stores, we should know about it, and we should know about your preferences, and we should know about the kind of ideal basket you would want, and we should be able to nudge you a value proposition there and at that moment. So I think that's the kind of personalization frontier we are endeavoring towards.
In fact, since you brought that up, I will come back to you later, Harsh, but I think there is a lot of discussion we might have to do about how you're using AI for driving loyalty, specifically for some of the retail chains that you have. Harmeet.
Thank you. So from a DTH perspective, I did talk about 30 million plus customers. That's the problem statement. Very important for us to understand that the magnitude of the number of subscribers that we have coming back to us again and again is very high. That's the first problem statement, the quantum. Second problem statement is the need of the customer's entertainment from yawners. Within the family, kids wanting different from the father to the mother to the grandparents. That's the second problem statement. And the third problem statement is obviously about saying that when do I want to consume? So, I could be an early morning television viewer. I could be somebody who watches television in the evening. And therefore, there is this need to reach out to customer at the right time, at the right place, with the right proposition, being absolutely contextual. Very, very difficult. Yeah, so what we devised, I will share a real life example with you. What we did devise is a product called Only For You. So it's not a product, it's a proposition, it's a process, it's a policy that sits in the bed and the heart of the organization. It's called Only For You because to each consumer, we reach out and say, here is a special proposition just for you, right? It sounds very complex, however, done very simplistically. I will put a stage 1, 2, 3 to it for us to understand how it has been constructed at the back end. Stage 1, understanding all the transactional behavior of the customer and creating segments in which the customer falls. That's the stage 1. So all the transaction means how many times he's coming to recharge, what value is he recharging with, what pack is he sitting on. So that's all the transactional information I have for the customer. What a la carte is he's picking up, therefore what are his yawners, likes and dislikes. That's the first part. Stage 2 is all the behavioral analysis. Behavioral analysis of the customer, which basically talk about, does he like to watch cricket more? Does he recharge more at the time of cricket? Does he stay, deactive during times? Because, there are customers who are now becoming sporadic viewers. So they switch from TV to OTT, right? Or they could just be watching content on YouTube, which is absolutely free of charge, and therefore you're not either recharging your TV or recharging your OTT. That could also be a situation. So there is a second piece of information. To overlay on this piece of information is very critically the predictive analytics that throws up that how is this consumer going to react in the future. Yeah, so that's really the third stage where I'm talking about that to this understanding the analysis. So if we take one on the x-axis, the other on the y-axis, and the whole prediction sits on the z-axis, right? So these three axes is very critical. Over this axis sits the campaign analysis, which says that the last time when I made an offer to this customer, the last time when I did a proposition to this customer, did he take it or not take it? Did he absorb it or not absorb it, right? Basis which we have a predictive model that comes up for each individual single proposition that goes out to the customer at every single touch point. Now that is a cohesive, integrated communication that reaches out through the process, policy, product called Only For You. So each customer, when he reaches out to my dealer, he could come out for a recharge and say, right to the shop and say that, here, reaching out to the dealer sees the proposition that's customized to that customer, and the dealer also sees the incentive he will earn if the customer was to buy out that offer. That's the first. Second is the customer may not go to the dealer and he may recharge from a Paytm, a PhonePe, a Amazon Pay, a Google Pay, any payment partner. We don't care. He can come from anywhere. We are integrated across. As long as he wants to recharge, it should be convenient for him to recharge. We have gone out and stitched the process with the payment partners where through an API integration, masking of data, API integration, where our data is not visible to them, but our proposition is visible to that particular customer. So you can see exactly what you have in store for you. And that enables us to reach out to the customer better. Plus the other touch points like the app, the web, the IVR, the call center, the inbound, the outbound, everywhere an integrated communication piece is stitched. So post the implementation of this process, and we continue to enhance this process through ML and AI, and so that the proposition becomes more contextual, more relevant, more adaptable, more better results on the campaigning. This continues to improve. We've actually seen a lift of 30%, incremental recharges that we've got from this process. So it works as a bedrock, and it's now become like a part of our skin. And we continue to follow this on a day-on-day basis with every new activity, endeavor, initiative that we undertake. So very important for us to start living and breathing AI. However, again, coming back to the critical point that I was making earlier, this does not necessarily mean that we will hit the bull by its eye every time the customer comes in contact with us. There is still an absolute need for humanity, need for the human touch. So when the customer comes in contact with me at the call center or at the dealer, it's important for us to listen, because until we listen and capture what the customer's requirements are, we will not be able to deliver. So therefore, both the processes, the artificial intelligence and the human empathy works hand in hand to deliver really what we want to deliver. Thank you.
Thanks, Harmeet.
So Vineet, you had a very important question regarding how to drive loyalty via AI, right? So for Tata Neu, which is the first super app built in India, our core proposition is loyalty, right? So we have something called as a New Pass. The construct is very simple. If you stay at a Taj hotel, you get X amount of new coins. The same new coins can be used to purchase in Big Basket. That can be used to redeem at Chroma. So it's a multi-cross-functional construct that we have built in, right? This enables all the consumers that are using the Tata Neu app, for example, to cross-utilize these new coins, right? Now, which is very, very exciting for us, as well as the consumers. Now, how to drive the AI aspect into it, correct? For us at Tata Neu, what we generally do is we do a deep dive analysis of all the data, of all the feedback that we get. We have research engines. We do reach out to our customers proactively. We also have communicated with a lot of different survey analysts to provide us the data as to how the customer is engaging with the app on a day-to-day basis. Now what happens, and I can give you a very simple example, that for a consumer, for a business consumer who stays in a hotel of Taj, right, across the world, right, he might be purchasing X number of products at a Big Basket. Due to these analysis that we have, we personalize those offers in our offer engine. We have a fantastic offer engine in place. So we can actually cross-utilize these localizations or these personalizations, not just for the hotels part, but we can also do it for the electronics part, for the pharmacy part. But the core proposition of that New Pass that we have, right, comes from the data that we get. Okay. And just to touch upon the data protection part that you mentioned, Vineet, in the earlier question that you had. See, each and every company has their data. We at Tata, since it's one of the most trusted brand in India as well as in the world, we firmly believe in getting the data and using it for the right purposes without compromising on the data. So we take the customer's consent. We are GDPR compliant also, when we launch the Tata Neu app. Now, the new aspect that we are building into Tata Neu specifically is we are trying to engage customers in a far more proactive manner. For example, if you are traveling via AirAsia and you needed a headphone, for example, we are planning of basically giving you a nudge saying that the nearest Chroma store is 0.5 kilometers away from you, right? Because Chroma has a store in the airport. You might require that. So that is the aim that we are, looking, or the ambition that we have. But to summarize in a nutshell, AI as well as all the components or all the segments that is available, whether it is offers, whether it is customer service, whether it is marketing, will go hand in hand. It is currently happening in the present, but it will definitely take a step ahead in the near future.
Sandeep, you mentioned Tata people signified with trust. And there are so many group companies of Tata.
Yep.
I think there is one for literally anything in our lives. There is a bit of Tata in everything we do.
Yes.
In the day, right?
Yes.
Right from the time you wake up. Tata Neu, of course, is India's first super app. It gives you a consolidated view in terms of your loyalty to various services. But when I, as a consumer of Tata Neu or Tata products, I buy medicine separately from a Tata 1mg.
Yep.
I will order groceries separately from a Tata basket. A big basket.
Big basket.
Big basket, right? So I'm using different apps. I'm using Tata Neu to just check what my loyalty is like in terms of points. And this is just tip of the iceberg, right? You also have vehicles, right? You also have salt.
Yes.
right? So many consumer products. As a company, how are you delivering a consistent customer experience across the board?
Yeah, so when we were stitching all these journeys, right? So Big Basket has its own consumer journey to have, right? Click has its own consumer journey, which they have built in over the years, right? Now to consolidate these all journeys into one particular app was really challenging, but exciting at the same time for us, okay? What we did, principally, what we agreed on, that we will not at any point of time reduce or dampen the customer experience that we have, okay, on the app, whether it is, whether the customer goes on a Chroma website or he comes on the Tata New app, for example, the journey is going to be very, very seamless. This journey is going to be extremely intuitive. The journey is going to be extremely easy for the consumer to use it, right? Step by step, what we did was we took a Chroma journey. We did a very thorough analysis of the Chroma journey. Then we took a Tata Click journey. We took an IHL journey, Qmin journeys. So all those journeys we had, built in. And then we realized that the common factor across all these journeys, was the responsiveness of the app, for example, the offers that are sent to the customer, right? So there were common strategies that were used by all the brands. So the best part that happened for us was we actually stitched all these single components into a Tata New app without compromising on the customer experience bit. So for example, if you go for a Big Basket journey from a Big Basket app, okay, and you go from a Tata New app, the journey more or less is going to be the same as of today. But in the near future, right, what we are also planning to do is the true nature of the Tata New app will come in, where the loyalty construct will be in full flow. We have more offers in Tata New as compared to the Big Basket, when it comes to delivery and stuff available to that, right? But challenging times, but at the same aspect, we also have exciting things to look at. We will be onboarding more brands, which will give us more things in the near future to look at, more challenges to basically fulfill.
Thanks, Sandeep. Harmeet, you spoke so much about how you're engaging audiences, especially and leveraging AI to engage audiences. That was very insightful. Thanks for that. Also spoke about OTT that you've got into. How are you leveraging AI to identify certain white spaces in the market? Because it's very cluttered in terms of the number of OTT players. Although now that when I look at the D2H business, it's fairly uncluttered, right? But OTT is hugely cluttered. How are you leveraging AI to identify those new markets for you to get into?
Okay. I think that's an interesting question. Let me actually Watcho itself, the product Watcho. In fact, how many of you have heard of Watcho? Anybody has heard of Watcho?
I started getting Watcho ads after I downloaded OTT Play.
Okay. Okay. Okay, nobody's heard of Watcho right now, but I must share with you that we have already crossed 1 million subscriptions on Watcho. So for us, we started off by being the pioneers at DTH, right? So DTH as a category, like all of us, I think very few of you must be on DTH. How many of you are still on DTH? Could be any. Okay, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rest of you have moved to OTT? Yeah? Rest of you, I assume, have moved to OTT? Yeah? Okay, okay. So for us also, that was a key consumer insight, which is consumers aren't leaving entertainment. And obviously challenging times for DTH as a category because, consumers are choosing other entertainment mediums over DTH as a category. So we did realize that customers are moving to OTTs. And we said that if one was to not try and withhold the customer to go to other content entertainment and yet ensure that the core of our business, the purpose of our business, which is being in the space of entertainment is critical, we said, how about looking for that white space, which is an empty space, which is lying where the customers are now watching multiple OTTs, right? So there are customers who are watching only Netflix, and there are people who have a Netflix and an Amazon Prime, and then they have a Hotstar, and then there are local. I don't know if you've heard of some of the other smaller OTT players, but very big, like in Bengal, Hoicho is really big. Chopal in Punjab and Haryana is really big, which has got all the Punjabi and the Haryanvi content. So this was growing as we were talking, right? So we said, as distributors of content, when we get channels put together and offer it to the customer, how about putting all the OTT platforms together and offering it to the customer? So versus us as individuals choosing a Netflix subscription and choosing only an Amazon Prime subscription and then saying, okay, I also need a Hotstar because I have the Asia Cup coming on the Hotstar, but I have Kaun Banega Crorepati coming on Sony Live, so I've taken a Sony subscription. I have my hockey coming on, some of the other OTT players. And I said that, wow, how can we put this all together for the customer in a single subscription? So what Watcho offers is primarily all subscriptions put together at almost 1/10 of the total cost. So I would urge all of you to download Watcho, check out the product because we already have 1 million subscriptions on it. That's the white space that we found out, not necessarily coming from AI, but coming from key consumer insight, right? However, the task of the AI starts post the product is configured. This product is just like the new, it's the super app, because within the app, you have the other apps residing. So when you go to the Watcho app, you click, you will go to Sony Live app, you can go to Hotstar app, you will go to, Hoicho app. That's where we started looking at now the customer's journey of saying, what is the consumer behavior? Another core key insight that we got from this consumer behavior was that customers switch from one OTT to another. Do all of us do that? I mean, there are times we kind of, switch off the Netflix subscription and we say, okay, now let me take on Hotstar. I have a great, content coming here. And then I say, okay, let's not do Hotstar. Now I'm going to move to Amazon Prime because, I have a new series which is up and, that's what I want to watch. We tend to switch. So what Watcho did was that as a product coming from that core insight, which is actually not the first in the industry, not the first in the category, it is the first time in the world that Watcho has done. It enables you to choose your OTT app for the month. So you pick up a product which has 5 OTT apps, and you can switch your OTTs. You can drop an Amazon Prime and pick up a Hotstar. You can drop a Sony Live and pick up a Hotstar, or drop a Hotstar, pick up a Sony Live. So it gives that choice to the customer. And from here on, as this category is further evolving, because it's an amalgamation of OTTs, there is so much data and so much science which is available on what the consumer is watching across each of the platform. What do they like? When do they go on, off? That, it is paramount for us to work with AI to ensure that we are able to nudge the customer, tell him what is coming, what is the great content, what should he be watching, where can he, get maximum bang for his buck. And that's really where the play is happening. So very important that, one, we play the whole consumer insight bit with the product proposition and then leverage it to drive subscriptions. And that's really how the piece can be stitched together for us.
Interesting. Thanks, Harmeet. You started off on a very light note, Harsh, especially referring to a family going to a store. A lot of AI, I know, is being used towards visual merchandising, towards product placement. How has Spencer's Retail actually used AI for this? And has it made moms happier or
let me start. Let me start with an insight which started with the pandemic itself. I think I remember April 2020. We figured out there are 2 waves that consumers will happen, and I think AI, while the usage happens, the trigger point of the breakthrough insight is primarily consumer centric. So 2 consumer breakthrough insights we picked up in April 2020 is saying that it would be really difficult for a large part of the Indian segment, especially early adopters and a large amount of senior citizens, to order groceries through an app, right? And that was the first time when we saw the industry into essentials and non-essentials. And I'm sure you guys have experienced it takes like 28, 30 minutes. It's really difficult, right? No matter the best app of grocery ordering you are, but if you're ordering your monthly buys, it takes a huge, huge time. It's not really convenient. And put that use case and superimpose it to saying, how would senior citizens do it, right? With that breakthrough insight, we leveraged AI to launch India's first Spencer's Grocery Assistant. Now, what essentially it does, we asked fundamental questions saying, which is the platform of technology where senior citizens would be more comfortable? And unanimously, everybody said WhatsApp. That's the platform. We all get forwarded messages in the morning. So we leveraged AI to say that, can a consumer just put a text message like he's chatting to somebody that I want 5 kg of dal, 3 kg of rice, this and that. And can it leverage AI to convert that into a readable, processable order at the back end? And can it be delivered to somebody's doorsteps in 2 hours? Now, that's a use case which, in a very consumer-centric way, it leveraged WhatsApp, it leveraged AI, it leveraged NLP, and it leveraged the entire disruption of last mile delivery to be connected into a single experience to say that, can I remove friction in the ordering process? That's one to start with. Then when you go to stores, whether it is Nature's Basket or Spencer's Retail, our entire merchandising process and the entire supply chain stocking, whether it's with regards to replenishment, with regards to what gets put into stores, what gets sold, is hugely driven by AI. Like, just for an example, when you go to a Bandra Nature's Basket store vis-a-vis a Juhu, vis-a-vis a Nipinsi store, you'll see a complete difference in the kind of assortment that's kept. And that assortment is a rigorous process that continuously leverages AI models, predictive algorithms to understand the seasonality of not just consumer transactional data, but we also leverage understanding of a lot of transactional data that comes from our suppliers, like what product categories for Unilevers are doing the best, what categories for P&G are doing the best, and we leverage that kind of supplier data along with the first-hand consumer insight that we have from our own transactional data to really decide what is something that people in Juhu like when they're visiting Nature's Basket. So at times you'll see there is a complete difference. And to an extent that early last year we realized that the world of retail is moving in different directions. Globally, we have heard Walmart play EDLP, which is everyday low pricing. And you'll say big box stores which are outside the city, and they essentially allow curbside pickup or BOPIS kind of models, but they are like on lowest price every single day. But I think in India, we had different kinds of consumers, and when we looked at Nature's Basket in a gourmet space, Spencer's Retail still in a premium space, we had the value proposition still uncontested. And it's essentially the data models through AI that nudged that there is a huge need gap, which after 3 decades of Spencer's Retail, we launched a newer format called Value Market, which is a pure play of EDLP for the first time in India. And as we speak, it's been launched in 23 cities or 23 locations across the country, and that's scaling up. So just to look at it, I think the role of AI in the entire value chain, whether it is replenishment, whether it is consuming data with partners and vendors, whether it is leveraging transactional data to remove friction in consumer journeys, or to eventually start newer channels like Spencer's Grocery Assistant, AI plays a strong role. The other thing was, in terms of AI, we ended up launching during the pandemic times one of the most technology leveraged phone delivery systems. Now, again, by first principles, we looked at which is a convenient method to order in, and we often overlook the power of phone ordering, right? But that's the most convenient thing. When you want something, you want to pick up the phone and say that, hey, I want this. But that's a part of the consumer journey which we believed that had least technology disruption and least use cases in terms of leveraging any part of process enhancement or making that into an elegant consumer journey. So as we talk, 12% of our business comes all India from phone delivery. And that's a channel which was completely absent 3 years before. And these are consumers who call up, and AI essentially connects the consumer to a relationship manager in the right store that's nearest to him and enables a seamless transaction which gets relayed over a WhatsApp, and the transaction is also made, and the delivery shake hand also connects over with a message on an SMS and WhatsApp. So I think all of these processes, to me, when we talk about AI as a conversation starter, I think AI has been an enabler, and whether we are leveraging predictive algorithms, whether we are leveraging NLP, whether we are leveraging recommendation systems, or when we talk about loyalty, because in grocery we realize that while I personally consider loyalty as an oxymoron, right? Loyalty is an outcome, you really can't command that. You could either reduce the churn of consumers and increase the engagement, but loyalty is a kind of utopia. But in grocery parlance, we realize that consumers will not be really willing to subscribe to something because it's a chore which is often holds a lot of pain point. Look at households and everybody is saying that who gets grocery at home is a task which is often delegated. Somebody else will get the grocery, not you. And think about getting a loyalty into that, it's difficult. So we realized that there has to be a notion of on-the-go incentivization, and we launched our own closed loop wallet, which means that no matter which store, which part of the country, or which channel you're purchasing your products from, you will have incentives put into the wallet. And as we speak, 64% of our consumers leverage the wallet, which means that while they're buying, they get an incentive which they reuse for their next purchase. For us, that's what a lot of people call solving for loyalty, but we essentially call it solving for higher retention, a higher cross-sell, and overall the objective is to increase the consumer lifetime value and basket size.
Wow, so much of insights. I'm sure there'll be some Q&A coming from the audience. Moving to Ajay, if you can just hand over the mic, yes. Your industry, primarily, I think, from a growth perspective, it is B2B, right? You're selling to businesses. When you look at your business, where have you seen AI really play a role, especially in the sales and service automations? And how has that really helped in really growing your business? Especially since you're present in so many countries and you're exporting to so many countries as well.
Yeah, correct. So I think it's not only Aquapharm actually, but overall manufacturing, today how they're utilizing AI is a question, in fact. In India, at least, I would say not more than $240 million revenue of AI is there. Though the potential is much more actually. I mean, and some predictions are there, like I was going through some pages a couple of days back, and then the AI utilization in manufacturing was, showing some $1.1 billion business in 2025. And they were showing some $4 billion business in upcoming future, actually. It's a potential, basically. But I still consider, it's a much more, much more in the sense there is, it's difficult to predict, basically. Today in India, I think as far as manufacturing concerned, I think automobile industries are, more utilizing the technology, wherein AI plays a bigger role. The industries like us, who are into chemical industries, they are more related to the B2B sectors, and they are related to some products actually, wherein some agri products are also part of that. Like, for example, some chemicals used in the fertilizers. So there are few elements which are, manufactured in our company. Now, AI as a technology, how we utilized is, for the prediction onto sales side. That is one area, and prediction on the vendor side also, like raw material buying. So these two areas, they drive your business, because the rest is your variable margin, wherein you can predict your business and then profitability in the end. So a lot of historic data was there in our company, at least, and we were thinking to utilize that. We have CRM also in place, and in CRM we always launch the opportunities, the leads of the customers, and the behavior, actually the behavior mapping of the customer. So that area was quite keen. It was a clean data there, and taking the virtue of ERP system, having the data more than 10, 12 years, we built a model with linear integration, actually, so LSMW model, something like that. And then in Python, few developers develop certain things which are predicting your forecast. And then with the forecast, we were able to, stick to that forecast and delivery. It was pretty accurate, I would say. The outcome of that mathematical equations and the realistic cell was quite close. And management was happy, to reach to that. In the same fashion, on the RM side also, what would be the RM prices in future? Where should we buy that? What would be the time to buy that actually? So all these predictions were quite easy with AI. We went through few sites actually who were supporting to the products on the community side basically. So community is quite easy to manage because you have all the graphical data available on the website. A lot of experts are there who predict commodity prices and all. And then accordingly purchase team targets the thing, they buy the raw material wherein the company profitability can be predicted directly. Okay, the rest is all your cost which you have to manage. And I personally encountered a couple of good projects I would say. In my past two companies actually I worked on an e-commerce application which was into agriculture actually. So the quality checking of the corn was done by the drone system and that was quite effective. See, earlier system to check the corn quality physically was very tedious. A physical person was moving around the acres of the land and then he was checking the corn by pushing the corn hard, then how hard it is, how moisture it is. So all these things were tedious. Now with the drone, they have sufficient data behind. Drone was taking the pictures and literally mapping the entire acre area. It was suggesting you the quality of the corn and the output. Based on to that, it was suggesting how much water has to be provided with the system, how much fertilizer should be provided with the AI system. So that project I personally went into, which was a wonderful product. Even on the selling price, I said, we built a e-commerce application also for our distributors, and distributors was were seamlessly utilizing that. So no salesperson was involved. Direct order from the distributor, punching into system automatically, processing it. Of course, I mean in between approval system is there because without approval system you cannot go ahead. And then delivery, and then like Amazon, you have to just see when it is going to deliver, what information needs to be sent to the distributors. So all that workflow, which is common today. So it was there 10 years back, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's great to have a technologist, pure technologist in the midst of this panel. Quite the pleasure. Thanks so much, Ajay. Neelabh, I know you have had to wait so much because we went that way, then we came this way, but I thought I'll say one question for you. Especially when we look at the luxury retail space, right? I think augmented reality, virtual reality really disrupted that space a lot. Where do you feel AI is going to really change the game? Because we've already gone through that AR, VR. I think a lot of people are doing that. A lot of startups have started doing that. Where do you think AI first can change this, change the direction in terms of something even more disruptive? Two, what is Reliance Jewels specifically where you, the organization you represent, Neelabh, what are you guys doing here?
Sure. So I would start with a challenge in the jewelry space. Again, jewelry is the first love for every woman in India or on a global level as well.
Even men.
Yeah, even men. So again, just to tell you, interestingly, even the men's buying pattern, so if you look at the room, every male would have one jewelry, at least from an engagement ring to a necklace, to wearing a pendant to whatsoever is, so even men are buying a lot of jewelry. Again, so that is where I'll come later why AI is a crucial, can play a crucial part. But then let's start with the problem. Again, with jewelry, because it is a hyper-personal and a very, very specific requirement for each consumer. Okay, so now it becomes very difficult to how to cater all the kind of consumer requirements. Again, and secondly, it is a very, very expensive affair to manage inventory. Okay, so it is very, very crucial that how do you optimize inventory. For example, I'll give you a challenge. Is, for example, a Bengali staying in a Bombay store in Mumbai. Okay, there's a family wedding. Okay, and the person wants to buy some kind of a jewelry, and he's looking for. Obviously, he comes from Bengal, so he would like to have the jewelry basis his taste and requirements. And he comes to a Bombay store, and the Mumbai store is not holding that kind of inventory. Again, that's a lost opportunity. Okay, so how would you, and then again, even from the inventory holding perspective, how much inventory would you hold? It is again, where if typically, I take example of Reliance Jewels, the typical store size is between 3,500 to 4,000 square feet. So you can hold maximum 5,000 designs in a store. But on a universe level in our ecosystem, there would be more than 35, 40,000 designs. How to give the exposure of all those 40,000 designs to the end consumer who's coming to the physical store? That is wherein all the technology related the pieces are coming in play. again, virtual try-on. Virtual try-on is one, again, you coming to a store. Now, there is because the physical inventory is not there, basis the requirement which you had. Again, with virtual try-on, you can actually simulate the jewelry, how would the jewelry look on you, and based on that, you can order that. Again, right now, a lot of 2D trials are happening. Again, 2D virtual try-ons are happening. Now the industry is moving towards a more three-dimensional try-ons. And apart from that, again, for example, I have to buy jewelry for, female has to buy jewelry for her wedding. But obviously, there is a lot of elements like the attire which is related. And if you're going to the store, you obviously don't have the attire available with you. How would you give a kind of an augmented reality to the consumer so that the consumer can visualize how the jewelry would look when she actually is wearing her bridal attire? So this is very, very crucial. So again, augmented reality is a crucial part which will come in play. Third is, obviously, in terms of now I am getting into the store, how would, but then everybody has a different taste preference. So how do, basically, I do a kind of a personalization for the end consumer? Again, with what we are using in the stores is a hologram technology wherein the consumers can actually design their merchandise, okay? There are multiple elements from which the consumers can choose and create their own piece, okay? Again, in the physical space, this is not possible. Again, with AI, what are the kind of, their looks and the kind of attributes which the consumers want? Basis on that, AI is recommending and throwing us that these are the minimal options, digital options that we should keep, basis that the consumers can choose and they can do a DIY kind of a thing and to create their own jewelry for their wedding day. And apart from that, again, if you look at the consumer experience perspective, from a 360 consumer movement perspective, the consumer, again, in the jewelry space, it is not an impulse buying category, it is a planned buy, okay? So for example, there is and what happens in our space, one is the festivals wherein the consumers buy. Apart from that, there are events in the family. And then there are occasions like birthdays or anniversaries wherein these are local or basically individual celebrations. So how do, again, the consumer interaction happened with you, for example, in January, but the anniversary or birthday is in December. So how do you get in touch with the consumer for the next 10 months so that while the final intent of buying buying happens, you are in touch with the consumers in whatever way. And again, in terms of hyper-personalized way, you are there in the mind of the consumer. So again, from that perspective, AI is playing a very, very crucial role in gathering the consumer information from across channels. For example, the consumer might have browsed something on the website, okay? Might be that the consumer went to the physical store, he browsed something but didn't buy, and there's something else which the consumer bought. Again, from that perspective, collating the entire data and keeping that in our ecosystem and then recommending products. For example, next time you go to the physical store, instead of the store guy asking you some random questions, what is your budget, what kind of jewelry do you want, our AI recommended engine would basically throw out that what is the, again, obviously, as the other panel members suggest, that there should be a human touch as well. So it's not from a perspective of pushing sales. It is just from a random question perspective, at least the sales staff is enabled and is basically well informed what the kind of consumer buying behavior has been. So it is kind of an enabler for the store guys to entertain the consumer in a better way and obviously show him and take the first-hand experience of what the consumers are buying. So again, from that perspective, I think, and even international brands and international jewelers are using cameras within the stores to do the mood analysis of the consumer. Okay, so it is very, very crucial from a perspective, if you think that, for example, and there are RFID tags which are placed inside the walls to see how the product movement within the store happens. Correct. Basis on that, you can decide on the kind of inventories and this kind of styles you want to make in the future. Again, if the mood sense, if n number of product consumers are seeing the same product, but they're not happy after seeing the product, vis-a-vis there is a product which is very few pieces are available, but then the consumer mood shows that is a very, very high promising and a product which is making the consumer happy. Obviously, you should invest your energies and investments in procuring that kind of a merchandise. So it is very, very crucial if you think from that perspective. And we're just scratching the top of it. So a lot is to be done from that perspective.
Thanks, Neelabh. I'm actually dreading that school bell ring actually, and I can see Soumya standing there giving me looks. There is a lot actually, so many follow-up questions. I'm sure the audience has a lot of questions. But unfortunately, I think Soumya is giving me that look again. And so we'll have to end this. And I thank the audience because they've sat through this patiently, and hardly anybody has moved. So I'm sure this was a phenomenal discussion. I certainly learned a few things. Thanks a lot, Neelabh, Ajay, Harsh, Harmeet, Sandeep. Phenomenal discussions. Thank you so much. And
a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel on AI-powered customer experience, revolutionizing e-commerce and retail. And as you can see, fantastic panel, completely diverse panel with multiple industry segments here, and greatly moderated by Vineet. Thank you so much. Would request the panel members to kindly be on stage, and I would like to call on stage Mr. Bharat M. Balan from 5S Digital to kindly do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel here. Thank you so much, Bharat, for doing the honors. We'll start with Mr. Sandeep Pujari, Head of Technology and Customer Service from Tata Digital. A big round of applause for Sandeep. Sandeep, thank you so much for your wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Ms. Harmeet Kaur, Head of Customer Engagement, D2H, DishTV India. Thank you so much, Harmeet ji, for wonderful contribution on the panel. Moving next to Mr. Harshavardhan Chauhaan, Chief Marketing and Omnichannel Officer, Spencer's Retail. You want a better backdrop? A big round of applause. Thank you so much, Harshavardhan, for your wonderful contribution on the panel. Moving next to Mr. Awale Ajay, Head of IT, Aquapharm Chemicals. A big round of applause for Mr. Ajay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ajay, for your wonderful contribution on the panel. Moving next to Mr. Neelabh Agrawal, Head of Digital Transformation and Businesses from Reliance Jewels, Reliance Retail. Thank you so much, Mr. Agrawal, for your wonderful contribution on the panel session. And now, our honorable moderator, Mr. Vineet Rajan, Marketing Lead from SAP Customer Experience Startups and Digital Natives, SAP India Subcontinent. Thank you so much, Vineet, for your wonderful contribution and brilliantly moderating the panel session. Would request the panel members, the honorable moderator, and Bharat, if you could also join them, kindly come to the front for a group photograph. A big round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful panel of experts, multiple industries, AI-powered customer experience, revolutionizing e-commerce and retail. Congratulations to all the panel members. Thank you so much for your contribution and insights, and wonderfully moderated panel session by Mr. Vineet Rajan. And thank you so much, Bharat, for doing the honors as well.